All right, welcome back, everybody. You know, it looks like pets are on Santa's wish list this year. Joined by Dr. Pediatrician, veterinarian. Of course, we have our kids here. But we got Candace Denham here from the Kailua Animal Clinic. And here we have Mimi. This is Bridget's a little girl, and this is Beignet. This is Lauren's a little girl, of course. But we want to talk about something that, or little boy, excuse me, Beignet. We want to talk about something that a lot of us humans have been talking about. It's cold season, it's flu season. We talk about getting our vaccinations. So what we wanted to know, what people were asking is, can we catch colds or flu from our dogs? Can dogs catch colds and flu from us? So let's go.
So there is a canine influenza virus, and thankfully right now it's specific to canines, right?
Okay.
So humans can't catch it from canines and vice
versa. Okay.
Right, so that you can't give your dog the flu at this moment right now. There are times where things mutate and then become infective to the different species, but for now we're not seeing that. And thankfully we don't see the canine influenza virus here on the island. We haven't had any documented cases, but there are plenty of places on the mainland that have documented cases of that outbreak.
Okay, so what about the colds? Kind of same thing?
Yeah, I mean, there's no direct link that we've been able to find between the common cold, although there probably isn't very many studies to support that. So we just recommend that, you know, folks that are immunocompromised or, you know, young children or elderly folks just use caution when they're around a dog that might be sick, just in case.
Okay, so human to dogs, dog to human, not a problem. But dog to dog, that's a different issue, right?
Right, absolutely. The influenza virus is very contagious. And a lot of times when they have the outbreaks, it's in areas where dogs spend a lot of time in close interactions. Dog parks, elevators, and high-rise buildings, things like that, where there might be sneezing or coughing, and then that's how they get the droplets to get infected. Okay,
well, let's talk about some of the issues that we all need to be concerned about if we have pets. First among them, leptospirosis. If you take your dog outside, hiking, swimming, anywhere there's water, anywhere there's anything, you recommend what?
Right, so leptospirosis is what we call endemic to Hawaii, which means it's pretty much everywhere. So any areas where there might be freshwater streams, things like that, where animals might have used the bathroom, then they could potentially be contaminated. So we recommend vaccinating our dogs, especially those that hike a lot or spend a lot of time near freshwater streams.
Okay, and I know you got a lot of different vaccines too. Rabies is something that we don't fortunately have here, as everybody knows.
Right.
But you still have vaccines. Do veterinarians have vaccines for rabies here in Hawaii?
We do, and that's mostly for traveling animals.
Okay.
So in order to be able to travel with your pet, they'll need to be vaccinated for rabies.
Okay, so what are some of the other concerns? I know behind us we have Trifexis, we have HeartGuard. People who have animals, these are some of the medications that we're well versed with. Talk about Trifexis.
And so most of the HeartGuard products, which are actually labeled for heartworms, which hasn't been documented in humans, maybe 1 or 2 people, but there are intestinal parasites that are contagious, mostly children who, you know, have issues with sanitation, things like that. So these medications can control the amount of parasites in the environment and treat your dog to keep them from being infective.
Okay, Beignet wanted to eat the box, so we're going to give him a treat.
Really
what else should we know, again, as we're getting into this time of season, and are sicknesses more prevalent in the wintertime as they are with humans?
Well, there are definitely seasonal things that we see with kennel cough, especially usually like the early fall, winter time. That's when we see an outbreak of that. So as far as those types of illnesses, you know, the viral infections are really common towards that same type of season. Right.
Okay, and fortunately we don't have to worry about taking dogs out in cold weather and putting sweaters on them here, things like that.
Yep.
So coming into the holidays, one more thing to be worried about. Some of the foods that we eat and all the goodies that you have out on the table, this is a time to really be careful if you have animals in the house, right?
Right. You definitely want to check with your vet to see which little snacks that you can give to your pet. You know, a lot of high fatty foods can cause some issues with pancreatitis or stomach upset. And so we see a lot of dogs with either foreign bodies, they've eaten bones, things like that.
We've seen your x-rays.
Yeah.
They're not pretty.
Yep.
Well, I want to thank Mimi and Beignet. They've been really well behaved. Good job, ladies.
Yes, good
2
job.
proud mamas back on the set. Of course, they're dying for their snacks now. Candace, thank you for everything. We do appreciate it. And also, if anybody gets a pet as a surprise, as a gift for Christmas, boy, you better be ready to hit the ground running on day one, right? Because that's
Right.
another thing. People surprise other people with pets, and they have no idea
There's
what
a
to
lot
do.
of responsibility with that, especially with veterinary care, training, things like that. So you definitely want to check in with your vet and see what's necessary to keep them safe, to keep your family safe, and those around you.
All
for
right,
sure.
Dr. Candace Denham of the Kailua Animal Clinic, thanks for coming as always. Have a Merry Christmas to you.
You too.
And a petty New Year. All right, moms, back to you.
They did so good.
They did so well, and I gotta say, Candace looked so at ease with Beignet, but it was really funny seeing Dash hold a tiny little dog.
My dogs are...
There you go. His dogs are like huge. Well, it looks like pets are on Santa's nice list this year. A new survey says half of Hawaii pet owners admit to spending more on pets than their partners this Christmas.
Of course, our furry friends are part of the family and therefore included in the season celebrations.
The survey also says 1/3 of pet owners dress their pets in Christmas-themed clothing. Guilty.
This segment is just focused on
All
them.
about these two.
God, she's like
We
so
are proud mamas. We gotta share
A
it
lot
with
of
everyone.
screen time for these dogs between Laulima yesterday and the interview today.
Hey, they helped bring in lots of donations, I think.
Yeah.
They did. Sure,
Yeah.
sure, why not?
Say hi.